And once again, Damon is like, I love that this is somehow my job, even though I'm not even the one who gets to kiss her. Hey guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. I hope you guys are having a great week. I am feeling so ready to film. We got some amazing news this morning, and I feel like it's just finally starting to like settle in. It's pretty early today for me to start filming, and yeah, we got this news like maybe 2 hours ago, and I think I was in shock, but now I'm just like, wow, oh my god. So I'm feeling really good. I hope you guys are doing really well wherever you're at. If you hear any scurrying about, I mistimed my kids' naps and Eli is running around like a maniac while Oliver is still sleeping. So that's what's going on there if you hear anything. Today we are diving back into season 4 of the Vampire Diaries. I am having so much fun with this season. Things start to get real funky really quick, but now that Elena's a vampire, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of new people that have been introduced. I don't like most of them, but it's fine. They're here. We're going to talk about them. If you're enjoying this series, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I can see all of you guys out there that watch me but aren't subscribed, and I appreciate those views more than I can say, but go ahead and subscribe because that's the only way this channel is going to grow. And I do have things planned, like once we reach 1,000 subs, stuff starts to unlock for me as far as like the creator studio goes, and I'm just really excited because the growth we've seen just since April is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Your support means so much to me, and I am just so excited to see where this is gonna go. Like, where are y'all gonna take me? What's happening? I'm so excited. All right, so let's get into it. Man, y'all, I just recorded a whole opening for episode 6 and lost it all. Let's try it again. So this episode needs to come with like a really intense trigger warning. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say with the algorithm, but we're going to be talking about some really heavy topics centering around self-harm and ideations of like extreme self-harm. If this is going to be hard for you to listen to or damaging or dangerous in any way, please skip ahead to this timestamp right here. I can't do chapters yet in my videos. I don't get that feature until we hit 1,000 subs, so it's coming in the future. But please go to this part right here. That's gonna be like a trigger-free recap of the episode because there's not really a way to talk about this episode in full without getting into these topics, but I don't want it to hurt anybody. If you still want to know what happens in episode 6, go ahead and skip to here and you'll get kind of a more subdued recap. If you want to just go ahead and jump to episode 7, go to here. So the big thing that's happening in this episode is Elena is being haunted by the ghost of Connor. So he's the hunter that she killed in episode 5, and it's going really, really badly for her. He is basically just hovering around her constantly, telling her she's a monster, she's terrible, she deserves to die, she should just go ahead and take care of it for herself, and then no one would miss her, no one would care. And because she is so sleep deprived and she is struggling with the guilt of killing him, it's like working. She's starting to like believe those things and believe him, and she's really struggling with these horrific hallucinations and all the things he's saying to her. It's really like emotionally manipulative and stuff like that because Connor like was a bad guy in terms of the gang versus Connor. Connor was trying to kill Elena, Damon, Stefan, Caroline, Tyler, like all of those people would have been in danger from Connor. So Elena taking him out was the right thing to do, but because she's got all of that compassion and she feels so strongly that like human life should be spared, it's hard for her. And he also rubs it in her face that like he's a brother and he had parents that she took him away from and all of this. So again, it's just really emotionally manipulative and dangerous for her, but it's what he's supposed to do. So we open with him tormenting her. She goes downstairs. He starts messing with her in the kitchen. She calls for Jeremy to come down and help her. And all of a sudden, like, Connor is like on her, grabbing her. He can touch her physically, even though he's supposed to be a ghost. She grabs a knife and stabs Connor in the throat, but it's Jeremy. So that's another thing that Connor can do, is like take physical form when there's somebody else in the space with him. He can trick Elena into thinking that it's actually him. So that's what he did. He basically like overlaid himself over Jeremy. So when she stabbed him, she stabbed Jeremy. Jeremy dies. It's horrific. But he's wearing the ring, so he's gonna wake up and be fine. But remember, there's all this issue with like what happened to Rick, so they've been trying to avoid anything happening to Jeremy, and yet here we are 2 minutes into the first episode. It's crazy. Elena ends up calling Damon over to help with this, and she basically is like, well, I trust you, we don't trust Stefan right now, I don't want to talk to him. This is hard for Damon, because Elena is dating Stefan. So he's kind of just like, you know, this isn't supposed to be my job. Like, you shouldn't have called me. You should have called Stefan. This is weird that I'm here helping you through this. And she's like, yeah, well, I don't trust Stefan, so what are we gonna do? And then Stefan walks in because Damon called him, and he's like, about that, so I called him anyway. And then Elena and Stefan have this like awkward interaction where she just doesn't want anything to do with him right now, because remember, he's been lying and working with Klaus behind everybody's back. So there was that hybrid that died in the grill going after Connor in the last episode. We find Tyler coming into a room in his mansion where Haley and Chris, who is another hybrid, are drinking in honor of this friend that they lost. And Tyler's basically like, you guys need to go somewhere else. Like, I can't be doing this. We're not acting like this in my house. Go ahead and go somewhere else. Haley gets up and like forces him to take a drink and then spills it on his face, wipes it off, and then like sucks it off her thumb all seductively. And Tyler's standing there like, girl, what the And then Klaus walks in and he's like, oh, okay. So Klaus comes in and is just like, oh, am I interrupting something? What are you guys doing? Like, I see I've interrupted a moment. And Tyler's like, we're not doing anything. Leave us alone. But then Caroline shows up and she's got a box of Tyler's stuff, and she just like barrels into the house and she's like, here's your stuff. I've got your sweaters and your bracelet that you gave me. Take it back. And Tyler's like, Caroline, come on. And she's like, no, Tyler, I don't want to hear it. And then Klaus walks over and he's just like, I'm so sorry this happened. I'll give you guys a moment to figure it out. And he leaves, and then it's just like Caroline and Haley and Tyler, and the girls start laughing, and Tyler's like, hey, y'all bitches planned this? Like, damn, you guys are really good liars. And they're just like, haha, he bought it, yay. Tyler kisses Caroline, and then Haley's over in the corner and she's like pouting. No, absolutely not. I don't like this girl. Because it's morning, everybody's like getting ready for their day still. Elena's taking a shower and she starts to hallucinate blood coming out of her faucet, and just like the floor of the shower just covered in blood. And I'm gonna be real with you guys. I saw this scene, God, at this point for the first time, probably like 7 or 8 years ago. I don't think a full decade, but like 7 or 8 years ago. I think about this scene almost every time I'm in the shower. It like unlocked a fear in me that like I've never been able to let go of. Klaus calls Stefan, and Stefan's been avoiding Klaus because he's afraid that Klaus is going to be so angry about losing Connor that he's just going to kill him. And Klaus instead is like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, he's 1 of 5. We'll just find another one. Like, I'm going to leave that up to you because I already got the sword. So you go ahead and find the next hunter for me. And Stefan's like, yeah, okay, I can try to do that. Remember, Jeremy is a potential, but we don't want anybody to know that. And then Klaus is like, so how's Elena doing? Have the hallucinations started yet? And Stefan's like, how did you know about that? And Klaus is like, because it's a curse, my guy. So remember, Klaus killed the original hunters back in like the 12th century. And he tells Stefan that like, yeah, when he killed them, he was plagued with hallucinations. It was horrible. And he's like, you really should give Elena to me because I'm going to be the only one that can help her through this. She's a danger to herself and others right now. Like, if she hasn't hurt somebody already, Jeremy, then she's going to. Stefan like denies how bad it's getting and is basically like, no, we don't need you, that's ridiculous. Meanwhile, Elena's in the house having a hallucination, and when she runs outside past Damon, Klaus snatches her and they disappear. So the gang at school, like Jeremy, Matt, Bonnie, Caroline, they're all working to set up an occult exhibit for Bonnie and Professor Shane. He's come, we never really fully learn what it is. It's just him coming to do like a presentation at the school, and it will be important later, but now it's just like plot filler to get Shane involved at the high school and the kids around him, you know, even though he's a college professor, and it really makes no sense to me why he comes down to the high school. It is what it is, okay? So they're all helping set that up. Jeremy tells Matt about his mark and what's happening to him, and Matt is just like, yikes, bro, what are we gonna do about that? And Jeremy's like, nothing, there's nothing we can do. April shows up and tells Matt that Professor Shane looks weirdly familiar. The boys call Bonnie in to help with the whole Elena situation, and she says that she's gonna have to bring Shane in because he's the only one that can help her with her magic since the spirits aren't working with her anymore. Klaus takes Elena to a safe room in his house. There's basically like no windows, minimal furniture she can hurt herself with, all of those things. And she says, you know, why are you doing this? Why are you helping me? And he's like, because I dealt with the curse before and I know what you're going through and it's pretty horrific. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on you, keep you safe. You know, secretly, he wants her safe because if she can be turned human again with the cure, which is the whole goal, then he'll be able to make more hybrids. So still selfish reasons, but he is helping her at this point. She asks him how long his lasted. He says it was 52 years of torment. Constant torment for 52 years. And because Klaus is like hella immortal, he couldn't even do anything to himself. He just had to suffer through it the whole time. When Elena tries to figure out how he stopped it, he's just like, I didn't. Just one day it stopped on its own. Stefan goes to Caroline and Tyler for help, and they end up filling him in on the whole we're breaking the sire bond situation, because remember, that's Tyler and Haley's whole plan right now. So Stefan is initially like, okay, it's going to be impossible to get the hybrids away from Elena so that we can get her back from Klaus, but we're going to have to figure it out. And Tyler's like, well, actually, Chris is unsired to Klaus and he's the one like in charge, so it's really not going to be that hard. We can do it. Connor is in the room with Elena and he starts like telling her about his family and how she took him away from them and she's a terrible person. He also gets her to admit that she enjoyed killing him because remember, like, baseline, vampires are predators, so they do enjoy the kill. That's one of those things, moral-wise, where you kind of have to remember that's what Damon's always trying to explain. They are predators. It's like a lion attacking a gazelle. They want to do that because they want to eat the thing. So vampires want to eat humans. So even though Elena feels bad, like in her mind, she's like, I'm sorry I killed you. I wish it could have been different. Biologically, she enjoyed killing him. That's not a lie. But he turns it into this whole thing of like, she's a monster who loves to kill and she's always wanting bloodlust and blah, 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 which is not Elena. So then when she stops listening to him, he changes into Catherine and Catherine starts tormenting her. The presentation that creepy Professor Shane is giving at the high school is about this. I'm hoping there's a picture of it. If not, I am just gonna put a rock here, okay? It is what it is. It's a big rock. Damon's gonna call it that in a few episodes. So this is like the world's oldest tombstone. He explains that it belonged to a witch named Silas. The rundown of this story gets a little funky, okay? I'm gonna do my best. Silas was a witch who, with his best friend named Ketsia, created immortality, okay? So we've been taught that Esther made immortality. Now we're being taught about this. This is different from vampirism, okay? Or is it? Who's to say? Silas and Ketsia made immortality. Ketsia thought they were going to take it together and be together forever, but actually Silas wanted it for him and his girlfriend, okay? Ketsia freaked out and locked him in a tomb for eternity, and then Shane is like, legend says Silas wants to rise again. Catherine starts digging in on Elena and is like, you know, every day you get more and more like me, which means Stefan hates you more and more. He's never gonna love you again. He's never gonna accept you. Once he knew the real me, he hated me, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, Stefan's a little bit into purity culture, okay? He wants his women soft and quiet and gentle and kind. He wants no spice with his ladies, okay? And then Catherine hits her with the, but at least Damon will probably still love you. And it's funny because like with Connor, Elena gets relatively violent. With Catherine, she just goes feral on her, okay? They just start like brawling in the room. Damon is in Rick's office at the school waiting on Bonnie and Professor Shane. He finds the secret booze that Rick had in his desk and starts drinking it and reminiscing a little bit. Then Bonnie and Shane come in. They show Shane the hunter's mark and Shane knows what it is right away and is just like, why are we messing with this? Is something going on that I need to know about? And Bonnie's just kind of like, so like theoretically, if somebody killed a hunter, what would happen to them? And Shane is like, well, you'd activate the hunter's curse and you'd be tormented until the next hunter is ready to take the place of the one from before. So basically, they need a potential hunter to be awakened, i.e. Jeremy. And Jeremy has to kill a vampire and then his mark will start. Because right now it's just like on his hand and it'll start spreading as he kills vampires. And it goes like up the arm, all the way up the shoulder and across the chest. Shane leaves the room and Damon is like, little Gilbert, your services are needed. And Bonnie is like, what? Tyler and Stefan convince Chris to help them get Elena out. They promise him that he'll be kept safe. They'll get him out of town because once he helps them, Klaus is going to realize that his sire bond is broken and he's going to need protection. Klaus is with Caroline at the grill being like sweet talked by her to be kept distracted. That's kind of what they always do. And he ends up saying to her that if Tyler was still sired to him, he never would have hurt her because Klaus wouldn't have let him do it. Caroline asks him to let Elena go, trying to get him to do the right thing, but he insists that Elena needs his help, so he won't agree to it. Stefan breaks in to get Elena, but she thinks he's Connor, so she stabs him. And then she runs away. Jeremy comes running in to Damon and Bonnie and is like, what's going on? Where's Elena? And they're like, so here's the thing. In order to save Elena from the curse, you're gonna have to start killing vampires. And he's like, absolutely, give me a stake. I will take Damon out right now. And Damon's like, bro, I thought we were past this. Stefan calls and tells Damon that, oopsie, I lost my rabid girlfriend. Could you please go after her because she'll listen to you? And once again, Damon is like, I love that this is somehow my job, even though I'm not even the one who gets to kiss her. Caroline has to be like, so Klaus, my dear, don't be mad. Okay, promise you won't freak out. And he's like, what did you do? And she's like, just promise you don't get too mad at me. And he's like, what'd you do, Caroline? And she has to admit that they lost Elena. And he's just like, bitch, what? And she tries to like stop him from going after everybody. And he's just like, you're beautiful, but if you don't shut up, I will kill you. But before he can like fully run off, she's like, now hold on, we know what to do to end the visions. And he's like, okay, explain. Elena ends up at the Wickery Bridge because the hallucinations are pushing her to go ahead and just die because she already almost died twice, and the second time she was ready. So the world would be better off without her, no big deal, no one will miss her, and she is so messed up in the head that she fully believes what's happening. She ends up seeing her mom, and her mother convinces her that it's time, and that's what she wants. Elena takes off her daylight ring and throws it in the water, and she's basically planning on when the sun comes up over the edge of the trees, she's just gonna burn up on the freaking bridge. The second she takes the ring off, she starts worrying about Jeremy, and she's like, I can't leave him, I'm the only family he has left. And her mom is like, but you're not his family anymore. You're dead. You'd be better off as a ghost who can help him since he can see dead people than if you're a vampire and a monster who's just gonna hurt him, Elena. Elena thinks that she's a disappointment to her parents. She feels terrible. Her mom is like, oh, we're so proud of you. We loved who you were. But then you died, and this monster that you are now deserves to die too. It's heartbreaking, okay? It's a hallucination of her mom, but I can't even imagine those feelings. And because Elena is, again, so sleep deprived, so sick, like this has been going on only for 24 hours. she is like bottom of the barrel, really struggling. I can't even imagine how Klaus dealt with it for 52 years. That's like, oh my God. Damon shows up and is like, hey, how are we doing? Let's back away from the edge of the bridge. And she's like, Damon, you were right. Vampires are evil. We're monsters. I don't deserve to live anymore. Haley and Tyler are getting Chris out of town, but when he opens the door, Klaus is there and he like throws Chris back into the room. So they're all just like, whoa, what's going on? What's happening? Klaus doesn't kill him, but he does threaten Chris, Haley, and Tyler. And he's basically just like, I don't know what's going on here, but I don't want any more of it. My hybrids are sired to me, and that's how it's gonna stay. Chris goes to leave again, and then Stefan and freaking Jeremy show up, and Jeremy's holding an axe. Stefan like kills Chris, but remember, because they're hybrids, they have to be beheaded. So while Haley and Tyler are freaking out, being like, what's going on? Don't do this. Jeremy just knocks his head off. We cut back to Elena on the bridge. The curse is instantly broken, and she's like, okay, great, he's gone, wow, and she immediately feels better, but then she's not wearing her daylight ring, so she looks down at her hand and back up at Damon, and she's starting to smoke because the sun is coming up, and he's like, Elena, where's your ring? And she's like, and he tackles her, and they go over the bridge into the water together. Elena wakes up in her bed with her daylight ring back on. Damon is there. She basically says that she remembers everything that happened, but it feels like a really, really bad nightmare and not something that like really happened to her. He sits down with her on the bed and they hold hands. They share longing looks. There's like absolutely something happening there. And then Damon is like, I have to ruin this. And he tells her that Stefan wasn't lying to her just to lie. There was a really good reason. And he explains that everything Stefan's been doing, all the shady behavior, has been for her because he's looking for a cure. Caroline goes to see Tyler, kind of expecting him to not be upset with everything that happened. But he's pissed because you gotta remember, Tyler's a hybrid. Tyler's a werewolf. So there's all this like pack mentality. And they were helping the hybrids get away from Klaus. This was like really important to Tyler to free them and take them away and make sure they were safe, because Klaus is basically using them as slaves, and it's really, really bad. Caroline's kind of just like, I mean, Chris wasn't even our friend. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And Tyler's like, where have you been? Like, Chris was my friend. Chris was part of my pack. I don't know how to explain that to you any differently, Caroline. And it just kind of goes over her head. She's always been a little insensitive, but this is like really a moment where she just doesn't get it. And then she pushes his buttons and Tyler ends up like storming away from her. She also tells him that in order to get Klaus to agree to sacrifice Chris, because the hybrids mean so much to him, she had to agree to go on a date with him since Klaus thinks that Tyler and her broke up. Damon goes to the grill and orders a drink for him and Rick. He is still saving Rick's seat beside him at the bar. Kill me. Matt shows up and is like, so I have some news. It turns out that April did know Professor Shane because her dad knew him and they had a friendship. Matt got Liz to pull the phone records. I don't know how he convinced her to do that for him, but she did. And he basically found out that the month before the pastor died, he made like daily phone calls to Professor Shane. The day of the explosion, he called him 10 times. So Damon is like, wow, Maddie, you really came through this time. We cut to Bonnie and Shane in his office. She asks like how he knows so much about so many different things. He doesn't explain that it's because he needs it for the plot and he is like our source of information this season. And instead he's like, oh, I travel a lot and so I just do a lot of studying. I just read a lot of books. Also, I know you have a new hunter. When you get that new hunter completed and the map is ready, you're gonna need me because I'm the only one who's gonna be able to help you with this. He is so manipulative, okay? He is like to a T, just like a narcissistic, manipulative abuser, okay? He really has Bonnie so isolated and so reliant on him that she trusts everything he says and she doesn't know how to ask anybody else for help because he's made her think that he's like the only one good enough to help her. Elena and Stefan talk and he says he's not even upset that she knows about the cure because it's like a load off his shoulders. At least now they all know what's going on. She wants to know why he sent Damon after her instead of coming after her himself. He explains that it's because recently she listens more to Damon than she does to him. She says that, like, yeah, you know, she likes being around Damon. Damon makes her feel, like, seen and listened to and understood because he seems to be able to accept the way she's changing, and Stefan just can't do that, so she can't talk to Stefan. He kind of brings up the fact that she probably still has feelings for him, and Elena is like, yeah, I don't really know what's going on. Like, my feelings for Damon when I was a human were one thing, but now that I'm a vampire, they're just amplified. And Stefan's like, yeah, I was afraid that that would happen. And then he basically explains that when he was the Ripper, he could see why Elena fell for Damon, because he was like pushing her towards Damon the whole time because he didn't think he was ever going to come back from that dark place. But now that he's back and he's normal, he just can't take seeing her fall for Damon anymore. So they break up. Episode 7 opens with Caroline just in her element. She's planning the Miss Mystic Falls event this year. She's just running around telling everybody what to do. She calls Stefan and she's like, where are you? You're supposed to be my friend. You're supposed to be here helping me. What's going on? Well, Stefan is out in the woods doing like push-ups on logs and eating bunnies because he's trying to not start killing people after the breakup with Elena. Caroline's like, you really need to get it together because the second we get her back to human, she's gonna be totally into you again and everything's gonna go back to normal, but Stefan isn't so sure. Klaus shows up in the woods and attacks Stefan and is just like, what were you thinking telling everybody about the cure, you idiot? Like, I told you not to do that. And Stefan's like, what are they gonna do? We all want it for the same reason. The only one of us that needs it and wants it is Elena, so that's what we're doing. It's not that big of a deal. Klaus kind of comes around to that because he loves Stefan. He's never gonna actually kill him. He's just always gonna be kind of vaguely threatening with him. And he's basically just like, okay, well, now it's your responsibility to get vampires for Jeremy so that Jeremy can start killing people. While Stefan is preparing to leave and go out of town to find those vampires, Damon shows up and he's like, where are you going? And Stefan's like, oh, did you not hear? Elena and I broke up. And Damon's just like, oh, okay. Elena is helping with the event as well, so Caroline kind of corners her and is just like, I don't know what you think you're doing. Stefan is your soulmate. They always say Stefan and Elena are like an epic love story. Epic gets thrown around a lot. So yeah, basically she's like, Elena, you're supposed to be with Stefan. Damon's disgusting. Damon's a trash man. Like, you shouldn't want to be with Damon. And Elena's just like, okay, Caroline, I get it. You don't like him. But nobody ever really gets into like why Caroline doesn't like Damon. I think that in the show they try to pitch it as like she just wants her to be with Stefan and she thinks she knows what's best for her. But I would like to remind everyone that Damon like really hurt Caroline. He manipulated her, he used compulsion on her. It's all assault because none of it was really consensual because there can't be consent if he's like warping her worldview. But that's not really a discussion that we ever have about what happened to her in the show. So it's all just kind of very messy. And a commenter, a few of you guys at this point have pointed out that like there's totally valid reasons for Caroline to really hate Damon. And while I agree with all of you because like rationally, yes, there are. They just never do a good job of like expanding on that in the show. So the show's version of it always feels a little like shallow because it just comes down to Caroline repeatedly saying, but Stefan is your true love and Damon sucks. And like that's as far as she ever really gets into it. Shane shows up to be a pageant judge and like at least they wrote in that he admits, wow, I'm like wildly unqualified for this because like, yeah, dude, why do you keep showing up everywhere? Go away. Matt is gonna be Elena's escort because she could not take Damon and Stefan and her broke up. April is going with Jeremy. Matt and Jeremy are there kind of helping move stuff around. Jeremy shows off his new strength by picking up 2 giant kegs of alcohol from the back of a truck and like jumping down with them, no problem. And Matt is like, this is awesome that you have all this new strength and energy, but also you live with your sister who happens to be a vampire, so let's be careful. And Jeremy's just like, don't be ridiculous. I would never want to hurt Elena. Are you crazy? Stefan ends up at the hospital looking for somebody to turn. I think at first he's trying to find somebody that's like terminal, but then he finds somebody that is in a room being guarded by a police officer. He gets the cop to go away, and when he goes inside, he finds a murderer. He uses compulsion to get the guy to admit that yes, he's guilty of the crime, and the only remorse he feels is having gotten caught. So Stefan immediately turns him, and that's gonna be like victim number 2 for Jeremy to kill. Klaus comes to see Caroline while she's working. He thinks she is so cute. I love the scenes where they let us watch Klaus watching Caroline, because he just looks at her like she is just the sun. Like, it's so cute. But he basically convinces her to let him take her to the Miss Mystic Falls event so that he can be like a co-host with her and help her do everything she needs to do, because he loves watching her be in her element. And she agrees, but she says that he's not allowed to bring her any gifts. Haley and Tyler have the hybrids in like a secluded area so that they can help them break the sire bond. Haley's currently working with a girl named Kim, who is like really argumentative and not enjoying the process, because like it's not fun. You know, they have to do the turn over and over again until they don't feel pain, and that's how the sire bond breaks. Tyler comes in and he's like, okay, so Klaus wants to take Caroline to a dance, so we've got one more day, we're doing good. And Haley is like, oh, a dance? We should go to like, you know, sell the ruse, because isn't it at your house? Yeah, we have to go, Tyler, you have to take me. And he walks out and he's like, yeah, whatever, just wear a dress, I guess. Well, Haley looks all excited about him taking her. Elena is getting ready and she's like struggling with her necklace clasp. She sees Jeremy in the mirror behind her and he's like, do you need some help? And she's like, yes, please. He comes in, he starts doing the necklace for her, and she makes a comment about like getting ready for the day and like being excited. And he just goes, I wish you'd stop pretending like you're my sister. And then he starts choking her with the necklace. She starts to bleed, and then Jeremy wakes up in bed and is just like, whoa, what just happened? And when he looks down at his hands, he's holding a knife and a stake that he's whittled with the little stamp of the Nordic runes. Matt is like, I told you, I knew this was going to be a problem. It's the mark, dude. We have to tell people. And Jeremy agrees because he's terrified of hurting Elena. Caroline and Elena are trying to help April pick between a red dress and a blue dress. They think she should go with the blue dress because they're like, the red's just too showy. You know, it's not the one. You need to do the blue one. It's the better option. Damon comes in and April's like, what do you think? And he's like, definitely the red one. And Elena changes her mind and is just like, yeah, I mean, the red one is nice. And Caroline's like, what the heck? You just told me you like the blue one more. And Elena's like, I mean, April, pick whichever one you like. Like, whichever one you like, that's the one you should pick. And she runs after Damon. And Caroline's just sitting there like, what just happened? Elena runs after Damon. They're at the bottom of the staircase. He's like, I'm not going to tell you that I'm sorry you broke up with Stefan, because I'm not. And she's like, okay, I'm glad he told you. Did he tell you why? And Damon's like, no. And she goes, you. And Damon is just like, yes, yes, yes. Oh my God. He's so excited. But before they can do anything, freaking Shane shows up and ruins the moment. Damon immediately confronts Shane and is like, so I know you were talking to the pastor, and I think it was you that blew up the council. And Shane is like, are you really accusing me of this in the middle of a crowded room? Bold. Stefan snatches Jeremy away and takes him to kill the murderer, and the guy kind of goes feral and attacks Jeremy, so he does do it. But in the process of killing this guy, he goes a little feral. Like, he just kind of starts stabbing and stabbing and stabbing him to the point where Stefan has to be like, Jeremy, he's dead, knock it off. Caroline is running around, finishing all the final things and making sure everything's going perfectly. Me on my wedding in 4 months, I'm losing my mind. I need Caroline Forbes to come be my maid of honor, okay? I have 3 maid of honors because that's how stressed I am about this whole event. I need Caroline Forbes. That's what I need. But Klaus shows up and he's just like, and how am I doing, love? And she turns to look at him and she's like, you're perfect, as always. And it's a whole moment for me, okay, guys? I love it. But then Haley and Tyler show up, and Klaus is like, oh, oops, maybe we should go somewhere else. And Haley is wearing this, like, skin-tight, short red dress. Like, Absolutely not. Cut away from Caroline and Klaus to look at Tyler and Haley is just my least favorite kind of girl, okay? She's so annoying. She's like the pick-me girl, okay? I can think of like several TikTok creators I watch that make these like really cringy like videos where it's like when you're with the girl that like your boyfriend told you not to worry about, like that's Haley. So she picks up the crown and she puts it on and she's like, oh my God, I would like to thank everybody. You know, I'm an idiot and like I have like no brain cells and haha. And Tyler has to like take it away from her and be like, knock it off, like that's not funny, because she is just so the like, I'm not like a regular girl, I'm like a dude's dude girl, which is so ridiculous because she showed up in full hair and makeup in a skin tight red dress. She knows what she's doing, she's just being annoying. April gets announced to come down to the stairs to do the like opening dance. You remember the like almost touch dance that Damon and Elena did, but Jeremy's not there because he's been kidnapped by Stefan, so Matt steps in and does the dance with her, which is really sweet. While everybody's dancing, Elena and Damon are in the crowd and they keep looking at each other. They're not even close together. They're like relatively far apart, but they make eye contact and you can just see that they're both just like, remember when we danced together? And it's so romantic. Oh my God. Caroline makes a whole scene where she again explodes on Elena for liking Damon, wanting to be with Damon, making eyes at Damon. She starts to yell and Klaus has to step in and be like, love, you're making a scene. And then Elena is like, you know what, Caroline, whatever, I'm leaving. And then Caroline is just like, how did I become the bad guy? And Klaus like takes her hand and he's like, let's get you a drink. I'll tell you all about being the bad guy. Okay. Damon is really pissed that Stefan went behind their backs once again because they don't know what growing the mark on Jeremy is gonna do to him. Like, they know that Connor explained that with each kill, the need to kill increases, but he didn't really explain it more than that. So Damon doesn't mind that Elena's a vampire and he would rather hang back and wait and figure out what's going to happen to Jeremy before they move forward. But Stefan is so single-minded on getting Elena the cure that he just doesn't really care. You're going to notice that. He starts to make kind of poor decisions because he just wants to get the cure for her at whatever cost, and he doesn't really care who's going to get hurt in the process. He's still with Jeremy and he tries to use compulsion on him to get Jeremy to tell him how much his mark grew, but compulsion no longer works on Jeremy, and when Stefan tries to like force it out of him, Jeremy attacks him and hurts Stefan. One of my favorite Klaus and Caroline scenes happens. They're at the party still kind of talking. He's listening to like everything she's dealing with and giving her advice. And then they end up like having a bottle of champagne together. So they're like laughing. He pulls out her Miss Mystic Falls application and starts reading it to her. And she's like, no, where did you get that? And it's just like one of my favorite Klaus moments because he's like talking. The actor starts to laugh. It's just like a really charming moment. Like I love that moment. He's like holding it up out of her reach while he's reading it. It's just so cute. Tyler listens in on this moment and is like super jealous. Damon sees Haley talking to Shane and he goes to Tyler and he's like, isn't it interesting how Professor Shane seems to like know everybody? Everybody new in town seems to know each other, Tyler, and I'm getting suspicious. Jeremy starts gathering weapons and then shows up to the dance and runs into April. She's like, look, if you didn't want to come with me, you could have just said so. It's really not a big deal. And he's like, no, are you kidding? I definitely wanted to come. I practiced for weeks. Like, I know the dance. I was excited. I just got held up at work. And then Jeremy sees Shane and April is like, oh, that guy, I talked to him. He knew my dad. He says that like, you know, maybe there was a different reason for why my dad did what he did. You know, I just don't feel like my dad would have hurt himself and the other council members. It just doesn't make sense. So I just want to explore my options. And then Jeremy goes like weird feral mode again. And he's like, your father knew what he was doing and he did a good thing and it was for a good cause, April. Like, you should never be ashamed of him. Damon ends up revealing to Shane that he's a vampire, which Shane already knew that, but it's like an intimidation tactic that Damon does to get him to tell him the truth about what's going on with the Hunter's Mark. It's not really working because Professor Shane is a liar, as we know. Shane explains that even if they complete the mark, they're not going to be able to do anything with the cure because they're going to need a Bennett witch to unlock wherever the cure is being kept at the end of the map. And if you'll remember, Bonnie thinks her magic is tied to Shane and his help. So Shane is like, if you get rid of me, who's gonna help Bonnie? You need us both. April wins Miss Mystic Falls. Yay! Jeremy is in the crowd, like definitely hunting, so Elena goes after him, trying to figure out what's wrong. He explains, you know, he killed another vampire, the mark is growing. He has this like nearly uncontrollable urge to kill vampires. He knows that Elena is his sister, so he doesn't want to hurt her, but at the same time, he feels like he should hurt her because she's a vampire. She insists, like, I'm never gonna hurt you, Jeremy. You're not in danger with me. I would never hurt you. But he cut his hand, so he's bleeding. She smells the blood and she can't control it. She does the little freaky eye thing, and Jeremy's like, I knew it, and then he just attacks her. He is fully going to kill her, but then Matt steps in and he's like, whoa, what are you doing? Don't do that, that's your sister. Jeremy's like, she's a monster now, and Matt's like, Jeremy, I'm a human, and I'm telling you that this is not what you want to do. And then Stefan comes in and gets Jeremy off of Elena. Matt takes Jeremy out of the room, and Stefan helps get the steak that freaking Jeremy shoved in her throat out of her. Haley and Tyler are talking. She explains that the reason why her werewolf curse was triggered is because she was in a boating accident and she accidentally killed somebody. It was her fault because she was driving. Then they didn't know about the curse because her real parents, she was an orphan and she was adopted. So her adopted parents found out when she turned in the living room and tore their living room apart. So they kicked her out. He asks if she knows Professor Shane, and she's just like, no, oh my god, I don't know him, but he is hot. That's why I was talking to him, which is, why does everyone think this man is attractive? I don't understand. Arguably, he's my type, so maybe it's just because I know he's a creep, but I don't get good vibes off this dude at all. The two of them listen in on Klaus. Earlier in the night, Caroline asked him if he ever like wanted to be human, if he would ever want to take the cure, and he had like kind of avoided the question. Now he answers it for her, and it's this cute little story about him being on a hike somewhere in a rainforest and seeing a hummingbird land really close to him, and watching like its little heart fluttering and its wings going really fast, and just thinking to himself, like, how crazy is it that there are creatures like this that have to fight this hard every single day that they're alive? And that was the only time that he'd ever really considered what it would be like to be mortal and have that existence where every day is like a gift. Stefan owns up to Elena that he's the reason why Jeremy killed another vampire and is now losing it. And his whole thing is basically like, look, it's worth it if it means we can fix this. And Elena is like, fix this? You mean fix me? She says that he doesn't have to love her like this because the old her died, and he's got to let that version of her go because that Elena is not here anymore. Damon walks up, and so Elena is like standing in between the two boys, and then Stefan gives up and walks away. Jeremy makes the decision to leave the house because he's afraid of hurting Elena, but then Matt comes in and is like, actually, Elena moved out. She wants you to stay here, and I'm gonna move in with you because remember, Matt lives alone. Matt's human, so he can kind of keep an eye on Jeremy safely without like there being any fear. And then Elena is gonna move in with the boys. Tyler goes to see Kim, which is that hybrid that Haley was helping at the beginning of the episode. Kim is good to go. Sire Bond is broken. So he texts Haley and is like, we got another one. Kim is good. We cut to Haley saying, oh, we got another one, to Professor Shane in his freaking office because she's a little lying wolf girl. She says to him, we need to make sure that Tyler is left out of this. And Shane is like, I need 12 and I don't care how you get them, but make sure I have 12 and then we can talk about keeping Tyler out of it. We cut to Damon and Elena. He makes her a drink. They're sitting in the living room talking. She's upset because she feels like with everything going on, she's just losing herself. She doesn't really know who she is anymore. He says he knows exactly who she is, and he's never seen her be more alive than she is now as a vampire. They talk about how when everybody had been dancing earlier, they'd been thinking about the time that they got to dance with each other for the first time. And she says, like, I wanted to dance with you today. And he gets up and they start dancing even though there's no music playing. For us, we're listening to Give Me Love by our boy Ed Sheeran, okay? But they're just dancing in the living room thinking about the music from the first time they danced. Are you joking? I'm unwell, deceased, I'm gone. I can't. Stefan goes to Caroline because, you know, they're besties now. So they're bonding over how stupid it is that Elena's living with Damon. Caroline tells Stefan that she doesn't want him to give up on Elena because, again, they're the epic love of each other's lives and they have to be together. He's like, well, you know, we're still going to get the cure because Klaus isn't going to give up on making her human. You know, it is what it is. He needs her human to make more hybrids. And Caroline's like, yeah, he's going to need them because Tyler's just unsiring them left and right and center. So there's not going to be any more sired hybrids in the near future. Then we cut to Damon and Elena. They start to make out. Caroline all of a sudden just has like an epiphany moment where she's like, oh my God. Stefan's like, what? What is it? She says, Klaus tried to tell me this earlier and I just figured it out because earlier in the night, Klaus said to her, you know, it's interesting what's going on with Damon and Elena. I'm intrigued by it. Now it's all making sense to her. And she's like, Damon has been the magic answer to everything from the moment Elena turned into a vampire. And Stefan's like, what are you talking about? And she goes, Damon likes red dress, Elena likes red dress. Damon says only from the vein, Elena can't use blood bags. What vampire can't use a blood bag, Stefan? And Stefan's like, it's just because of her, you know, doppelganger. And Caroline's like, no, Stefan, it's not. And then Stefan is like, oh shit. Damon said to kill Connor, so Elena killed Connor. And Caroline's like, exactly, you're getting it. We cut to Damon and Elena hooking up for the first time in a very, very steamy scene, okay? I know HBO does crazier stuff now, but oh my God, this scene at the time, big deal, okay? It's a lot. And while that's happening, we hear Caroline explaining to us, it's rare, but it happens. Elena must be sired to Damon. So that was a big yikes revelation, but we're gonna open episode 8 with Delina in bed having a nice little morning hookup before school. Elena's late, she doesn't care. She's wearing Damon's shirt, it's adorable. I love the moment where they're talking to each other and she's like, what's that face? And he's like, what face? And she's like, this one. And he's like, I'm just really happy. I'm gonna cry, it's so cute. But then once again, while this is happening for them, Caroline and Stefan are just freaking out about the sire bond. So Kim is the newest hybrid that broke the sire bond. She is watching her boyfriend Adrian break the sire bond and she can't handle watching him in pain. So she convinces Tyler and Haley and Adrian to stop for the day. And she's like, we can come back to this. Haley and Tyler are like, no, we need to finish this. Like, it needs to be done today. Haley especially is like, it has to be done because they need one more hybrid or Tyler's gonna be looped into like the group of 12 that Shane needs. Stefan comes home and catches Elena and Damon being cute. It's awkward for everybody. Elena goes to school. Stefan tells Damon about the possible bond, and Damon is like, this is so ridiculous. I love that the second I'm happy and enjoying my life and getting what I want, you just swoop in and try to take it from me. Like, she's not sired to me. Don't be ridiculous. Stefan is like, okay, well then prove it to me. Take her a blood bag and tell her to drink from the blood bag. Tell her it'll make you happy. Tell her it's what you want. Make sure you emphasize that and then see what happens. And Damon agrees just to prove Stefan wrong. Elena invites Caroline and Bonnie over to have a girls' night because they haven't hung out in a while. Damon does bring Elena the blood bag and he says to her, you know, I want you to just try one more time. There was so much going on in the beginning when you turned. Maybe it'll be different this time. Just go ahead and try it for me, okay? I just want you to try it. So she does. And she's like, oh my God, it tastes like blood. Before it tasted like hot garbage. Like, it was terrible. I couldn't keep it down. I'm gonna be okay, Damon. I don't have to hurt people anymore. This is amazing. And she gives him a big hug. Damon is very upset because now he's like, shit, there's a sire bond in place. Haley is snooping in Shane's office. We find out that he agreed to give her information on her parents, her birth parents, if she would give him the 12 hybrids. So he's like, you deliver those to me and I'll give you the information you're looking for. Caroline tells Stefan that there's not a vampire equivalent to the whole you freed me from having to turn, so if I turn enough times, there'll be no more pain, and then I won't be sired to you, which is like the hybrid situation. There's not that for vampires, so they don't know how they're gonna break the bond. Damon's like tearing through a box of mementos when Stefan comes home, and Damon basically explains that this has actually happened to him before, and Elena is sired, and he's pissed. We cut to a flashback of Damon in New Orleans with a girl named Charlotte. She was like obsessed with him, they dated, and then when she wanted to be a vampire, he turned her. So they're like a little vampire couple at the bar, and he says to her, I'm gonna go grab you a human for your first meal. Watch my drink. If anybody touches it, have no mercy. He walks away. A sailor comes up and knocks into the drink, and she's like, hey, you spilled my man's drink. And he's like, oh, sorry, like my bad, I'll get you another one. She just breaks his neck in the middle of this crowded speakeasy bar, and Damon comes running over and is like, what's wrong with you? And the guy is like neck broken, and Damon's like trying to prop him up, and he's just like, Charlotte, you can't do this. And she's like, you told me not to show any mercy. I thought it would make you happy. And Damon was like, oh no, you're sire to me. That's how he figured it out the first time. He says that he had a witch that helped him break the sire bond. So him and Stefan just need to go find that witch and get it handled again, and then everything will be fine. The girls come over for the night. Caroline realizes that the bond is real because Damon told her to use the blood bag, and now she can use the blood bag. So immediately Caroline gets all snippy about her dating Damon, and Bonnie has to step in and be like, no more boy talk, we're done with that. Caroline's also really judgy about Shane and Bonnie's relationship, but I agree with her there. So Damon and Stefan get into a pretty bad fight because Stefan believes 100% the only reason why Elena has feelings for Damon is because of the sire bond. There's nothing else like truth to it, and the second they break it, she's not gonna want to be with him anymore. And Damon is infuriated by this because like he's like, why can't you just admit that the truth of what's going on is her feelings for me are amplified? Leave it alone. Stefan apologizes, and they're in New Orleans, so this like triggers a memory for Damon from the same time period as the relationship with Charlotte, which is that vampire that he sired. We see Damon out at a bar in another flashback. Stefan and Lexi show up, and Stefan is basically reformed. This is like post the Ripper era, and he's gonna go join the war to like make up for all of the killing that he did. He's gonna go be a doctor. The boys get to talking, it goes really well. Damon suggests, like kind of jokingly, I could come with you, we could go to Egypt together, and Stefan's like, yeah, you should, that would be amazing. When Stefan goes to get them drinks, Lexi steps in and is like, you're absolutely not going with him, like you are not what he needs, he just got over being unpredictable and crazy, you're gonna make him that way again. And Damon's like, what? You have no proof, I would never do that. And then Charlotte comes in with a half-dead woman dripping blood, and Stefan gets the blood on him and freaks out, and Lexi's like, exhibit freaking A, Damon, I told you. In the present, the boys go looking for the witch. They can't find her right away, so Stefan is like, is there any chance Charlotte could still be here? Like, when's the last time you saw her? And Damon is like, oh, well, before I broke the bond, you know, I told her to count every brick on every building in the city, and then I would meet her on the street corner, and then I left. Stefan is like, huh, we should go to that street corner and see how literal the sire bond is. Haley wants Tyler to insist that Kim back down because they need to get Adrian broken from the sire bond, and Kim is the one keeping him from doing that. And Haley's basically like, you need to remember that we're wolves, and you need to be the alpha, and you need to be in charge of this. So Tyler goes to Kim and is like, stand down. Let us do what we're doing. We're doing this to help you. We're not trying to be controlling. We're trying to save everybody. Kim backs down, but then when Tyler and Haley leave, she grabs Adrian and she's like, let's go. We're gonna go pick a fight. The boys get to that street corner, and sure enough, here comes Charlotte. She tackles Damon to the ground and starts kissing him. Stefan freaks out and throws Damon off of her, and then Damon's like, no, it's okay. She didn't do anything. She just kissed me. And Charlotte is standing there, and she's like, Damon, I knew you'd come back for me. She's like all over him, and he's having to like hold her back, and he's like, girl, please tell me that you lived a full life. Like, please tell me you didn't like literally just stay here waiting for me this whole time. And she's like, of course not. I'm not crazy. But she does say that she did in fact count every brick on every building in the entire city more than once, because it's like her favorite song that reminded her of Damon. So Damon and Stefan are horrified. The girls are having like a wild, crazy dance party, getting up on the furniture, dancing on the couches. It's awesome and adorable. They end up in Damon's bathtub. like in the bathroom with Elena in the tub, just like all of them drunk and giggling. It's so cute. And Elena says like, why don't we hang out in here more? Like, this is the perfect room. And Caroline immediately ruins it by being like, ew, Elena, think of all the cooties in that tub. Like, there's so many girls that have been in here with Damon. Like, it's disgusting. And Elena's like, great, thank you. Thank you so much for bringing all of that up, Caroline. And then Caroline is like, I mean, even when Stefan was a ripper, at least he wasn't a man slut, which is just incorrect. Like, does she just not know? Does she just not know what we know? Like, Then it comes out that Elena and Damon slept together, and even Bonnie is horrified by this fact. Damon and Stefan finally track down the witch that he's been looking for. She's like the great-granddaughter of the witch that helped Damon initially. He has to explain that what the spell required last time was the sacrifice of 12 people. Stefan is like, are you kidding me? We're not doing that. And Damon's like, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do in order to get Elena's bond broken. But the witch that they talk to is like, there's no one here that can do magic like that. I don't practice, like, absolutely not. I can't help you. Elena explains to the girls that she's falling in love with Damon and that's why they slept together. And Caroline is like, oh my God, you're not falling in love with him, Elena. You're sired to him. And that's how it comes out. So then Elena is like, excuse me? Absolutely not. And Caroline's like, yes, actually, you freaking are. Elena freaks out and tries to kick them out of the house. But when they open the door, Kim and Adrian rush in. They attack them. Bonnie stops like the worst of it from happening, so nobody gets like seriously injured, but Kim does kidnap Caroline. Elena brings Tyler in to hopefully find Caroline and get her back. Tyler explains that what he did the first time with Kim wasn't enough and he's gonna need to like fully challenge her and like prove himself as the alpha to get her to stop. Elena is worried because Adrian's with Kim and she's like, you know, what are we gonna do? Adrian's still sired to Klaus. This could go really badly. And Tyler is like, no, but Adrian still hates Klaus. Like, he's not gonna do anything. He's not gonna screw this up. It's gonna be fine. And Elena's like, what do you mean? And Tyler's like, well, the sire bond doesn't change your feelings. Like, when I was sired to Klaus, I hated him. I just couldn't fight my actions, and so I had to do everything that he told me to do. So Elena is like, light bulb, you're telling me that my feelings for Damon are real. Damon calls the witch out and he's like, I know that you're not the great-granddaughter of that witch. You're her daughter, okay? And seeing as you look really freaking young, I'd say you're a practicing witch, so give me what I want. She attacks him and then nearly kills him, but Stefan interrupts. And witches love Stefan, okay? So they just immediately, she turns off her magic and she's just like, I'm not helping you guys. I wasn't lying. That kind of magic isn't used here. Then she explains that like it's not even magic. Like the witches don't call it magic. They call it expression because it's this darker, like slightly more elemental. It has nothing to do with the spirits. It comes from like a completely different place. You basically like channel objects and locations and sacrifices. So the 12-person sacrifice was just her mom channeling that power for her own use. There was no like spell that she did to actually help Damon break the sire bond, thus why Charlotte is still sired to him. And Damon and Stefan are like, okay, so then what do we do? How do you break it? And the girl explains, all you have to do is tell her to leave you alone. That's the only thing you can do, is tell her to go on with her life without you, forget about you, be happy on her own. I love this. She also says that the sire bonds are really, really rare and they only form when the person that is being turned has like strong human feelings for the vampire turning them, which means that Damon's had this happen twice in 150 years. That's so funny to me. That we don't have anybody else that this has happened to, and yet Damon's had it happen twice. Tyler and Elena get to Kim, and he's like, stand down, Kim. I'm gonna take over. And she's like, oh, are you? And all the hybrids come in. So Kim is like making an alpha play and saying that she's gonna take the pack away from Tyler. She tries to kill Caroline, but then Elena is like, if you really want to hurt Klaus, you need to kill me. Like, yes, he likes Caroline, but I'm the one that he needs to make more hybrids, okay? You get rid of me, you get rid of his ability to do that. So Kim goes after Elena, and then she gets close enough, and Tyler breaks out of the hold that he's in and grabs Kim and gets her by the heart. Everybody in the room freaks out, but Tyler's like, I'm not gonna kill you, Kim, even though I should, because you put yourself and all of our friends in danger, okay? And that's not what we're supposed to be doing here. We're supposed to be looking out for each other. But I'm not Klaus, and I'm not gonna hurt you just for this, okay? But I am gonna make you submit. So either submit to me or die. And Kim submits. And then once Kim takes a knee, he immediately releases her. And so now she's in his pack, and all the other hybrids are like, yeah, absolutely. And they drop to a knee too. So now Tyler is the alpha. Damon sets Charlotte free. It's really sad. She starts to cry, but then there's like a sad moment where he tells her to stop crying, and she does because she's sired to him. Ooh, yikes. So he's got to be really careful with his wording at all times. But he lets her go, and she leaves to start her own life. Damon and Stefan get in an argument because Stefan is like, yeah, absolutely, you have to let Elena go. You can't keep her with you. Like, this is so toxic. This is not going to work. And I'm worried that you're not man enough to do it. I think you're going to be selfish, and you're going to like choose yourself over what's actually good for Elena. And Damon's like, well, then you don't know me at all, brother. We cut to yet another flashback from the wartime where Damon came to meet Stefan. Stefan was like getting on the truck and everything. Lexi stepped in and stopped Damon. Damon was like, girl, I don't know what you're so worried about. Like, did you ever think that the reason why I'm struggling and I'm so upset and I'm such like, you know, a bad vampire is because I need my little brother. Like, we balance each other out and I need to be with him. That's why I'm going to Egypt with him. And Lexi's like, I understand that you need him, but you need to remember that he doesn't need you, and he needs to go on this journey by himself, figure himself out, and come back healed. And Damon is like, okay, yeah, you're right. And he listens to her and lets Stefan go, but he doesn't even say why he's not going. So Stefan just thinks that Damon never came to go with him, which is like yet another, you know, Damon broke a promise, Damon didn't follow through, Damon sucks situation. Now Damon tells him the truth, and Stefan's like, she didn't tell me about that. I didn't know that you came. And Damon's like, yeah, I know. Caroline and Elena make up, and Caroline's basically like, I'll stop, you know, I'll let you do what you want. It's your decisions. And she also says that she will not tell Stefan about Damon and Elena hooking up. And then Bonnie comes in and is like, yay, we're all friends again. Also, I used magic earlier because Professor Shane is teaching me how to use expression. Danger, danger, warning. Haley tells Shane that they've got the 12 hybrids. They are ready to go. They do not need to hurt Tyler. Shane is like, awesome news. By the way, your parents are dead. She freaks out and is like, you just picked a fight with the wrong wolf, which is so cheesy. And Shane is like, okay, before you get all mad and testy with me, just know that like what we're doing is bigger than like any death, okay? We're gonna bring everybody back from the dead. Caroline 100% tells Stefan that Elena and Damon hooked up without actually saying the words. She's like, are you sure we can trust Damon? Are you really sure that he'll set Elena free? And Stefan's like, yeah, I am. I trust him. He's gonna do it. Damon and Elena talk. She tries to explain what Tyler said to her, which is that like her feelings haven't changed. It's just her actions. It's like what she felt for Damon as a human is amplified as a vampire. It's just strengthened by the sire bond. That's all it is. But he says everything's changed and they have to reevaluate all of it because he doesn't want to be controlling her. She says that she's changed and it's not fair for everybody, especially Damon, to be telling her how she's supposed to feel or invalidating her feelings because she knows what's going on in her head and they should just believe her. He freaks out because of course he wants to believe that she finally really does want him and she's picked him and he's the one she wants to be with because he's crazy in love with her, so this is all he's ever wanted. She starts holding his hands and like touching his face and she's like, does this feel wrong? Is this wrong, Damon? You don't want this? And he just has like existential crisis. You can see the little loading sign on the poor man's forehead and it's just like, wah, and then it's over. End of episode. We open open once again with Damon and Elena in bed. This time though, they're fully clothed. He says he doesn't know what to do because everything she thinks she's feeling might not be real. And she's like, so what? It feels real. That's enough for me. It should be enough for you guys. He just can't bring himself to use the sire bond to send her away because he does agree with her that like it does feel right. And he's been waiting for this and finally they're together, and how is he supposed to just like get rid of her now? There's this iconic moment where she's like, what do you want to do? And he says, I want to throw you back in my bed and never let you go, in the like low Damon register that we've been talking about. Klaus is painting in his studio. He's doing this big blue and white scene with like a big snowflake on it. Stefan comes in, incessantly teases him about the big snowflake. Stefan is also there to explain to him that they're worried about Jeremy because each time Jeremy kills somebody, he gets a little crazier. And Klaus is like, boohoo, so sad. I could care less. He needs to complete the mark because I delivered and I got the sword. Here it is if you want to see it. And he like shows Stefan the sword. And he's like, this is going to be the way that we unlock the map. So they need both the sword and the map. And Klaus is like, I upheld my end of the bargain. You need to do yours. Haley comes to Tyler and the hybrids and is like, I have a witch. They're strong enough to help us. Everything's going to be good to go. We can do this. Tyler explains the plan to Caroline, which is basically to use the body switching spell on Tyler and Klaus so that Klaus's body is vulnerable. They're going to dump Klaus's body into concrete and just hide him away and then switch back. So then Klaus will be trapped in concrete for all of eternity, unable to die because he's immortal. Caroline's obviously like, this is a terrible idea, I hate it. And Tyler's like, we only need to keep him in my body long enough to get rid of his and let the hybrids get as far away from here as possible just in case something goes wrong. Jeremy is chopping wood at the lake house and thinking about steaks. Elena and Damon drive up and Bonnie has to like step in and be like, Jeremy, we're gonna remain calm. We're not gonna kill your sister and her boyfriend, okay? We're not gonna do it. Shane is there because he's helping with this whole process. Jeremy invites Elena inside. The second she walks past him, though, he tries to kill her. Caroline calls Stefan in a panic, trying to figure out what they're going to do about the Tyler plan because she doesn't want them to follow through with it. Stefan thinks that Elena is running around trying to find help for Jeremy, and then Damon is the only one at the lake house with Bonnie and Jeremy. Caroline says that they need to get the sword because just in case something goes wrong with the plan, they need to make sure they have that to have access to the map. Caroline once again, flirts with Klaus and distracts him. She definitely has reservations. Like we can see on her face that she feels bad about lying to him, but she still sends Stefan a text letting him know that he can go look for the sword. Damon thinks they should just kill Tyler and be done with it. Stefan's like, yeah, we're not doing that, okay? This is like the fourth time you've suggested it, Damon. We're not gonna do it. Also, where's Elena? And Damon lies and doesn't tell him that they're together. Shane basically explains that they need to use a thing called persuasion on Jeremy, which is basically, right now, Jeremy's brain is like, see vampire, kill vampire. And Shane wants to put like a third step in there so that it's see vampire, realize that vampire is sister, don't kill sister. That's what Shane wants to do. They do a meditation and Elena talks to Jeremy and tells him like family memories to try to like make that connective bridge in his mind of like Elena is sister even though Elena is vampire. But when Shane asks Jeremy how he feels about Elena, Jeremy goes on this little creepy rant where he's like, she's not even my sister. She's not even my real blood. She's a monster and I'm gonna kill her. I'll do anything in my power to kill her, even if it means killing myself. And then Shane's like, whoa, come out of that, broski. We don't need to be doing all that. And Jeremy's like, what happened? Did it work? And Elena's just sitting there horrified. Caroline and Stefan can't find the sword, so they need Tyler to call off his plan. When Tyler shows up, he is pissed that they involved Stefan at all because he had all of his hybrids and Haley sworn to secrecy for months, and now Caroline's just blabbing the plan to anybody. Stefan goes to knock Tyler out, but then Tyler's pack shows up and surrounds Stefan, and they're all just like, we will kill you if you hurt our alpha. And Tyler's like, I'm sorry, my guy, but I don't think you have a choice. You're gonna have to let us do what we gotta do. Tyler and the hybrids lock Stefan and Caroline up so that they can go through with their plan without interference. Bonnie and Shane want to try again with Jeremy, and then Damon steps in and is like, I think it's ridiculous that you're trying to use a vampire as his like touchy-feeling emotional point. Like, it's not gonna work. He hates vampires. You shouldn't be doing that. And he's like, oh, I wonder if there's anybody else we could use. Who could it be that Jeremy has feelings for in the room? And Bonnie's just like beet red. So they're gonna use Bonnie as the touchstone point now, and hopefully that will be a strong enough emotional anchor for Jeremy. Elena talks to Shane a little bit about the sire bond situation, and she asks if there's anything he knows how to do to stop it. And he's like, yeah, I've never been able to find a spell to stop somebody from loving another person too much. This is when we learned that his wife and son are dead, and he says that he was trying to find a way to stop missing them so much, and he couldn't. Damon once again threatens Shane and is like, remind me why we need you alive. And Shane conveniently is like, oh, you can't find the sword? You don't need the sword. I know how to read the map. I know where the cure is. I've been there before. Tyler and his mom talk, and he tells her everything. Her first thing out of her mouth is like, but you're gonna miss graduation. Oh, that was a stupid thing to say. There's more important things. She's such a good mom now. Like, she really truly cares about Tyler. She was so bad, okay? This episode specifically, they really try to make Carol just like the most understanding, wonderful mom of the year. I will not be forgetting the way she talked about not only Vicky, but also Caroline, okay? I won't be forgetting that. Shane shows Elena and Damon the tombstone rock, and Damon's like, that's a big freaking rock. And Shane's like, actually, it's a special magical tombstone, okay? Shane says if they dig up Silas, they will have the cure. And then he explains that the tattoo is actually the map to Silas's tomb. It tells the story of everything that happened. And once it's fully revealed, it will show the spell that they need Bonnie to do to unlock the tomb. Caroline and Stefan get out because they convince the hybrids that they have a better plan. They go to Tyler and Haley and are basically like, look, we don't have to use Tyler for the body swapping spell. Why don't we use Rebecca? She's got a dagger in her. She's like totally safe. There's nothing that could go wrong with it. Let's just do that. Tyler's immediately like, oh, no shit, that's a great plan. That sounds perfect. Haley starts freaking out because she's like, oh my God, this is not the plan that we initially made. We can't change like this. And Tyler's like, girl, we're doing it. This is a better plan. We're doing it. Call Bonnie, make sure it can happen. Tyler goes running off with Stefan to go get Rebecca. So Haley and Caroline are together. Caroline gets on the phone with Bonnie, and Haley's like texting Shane, and Shane's like, you're ruining the plan. Fix it. So then Caroline's like, Bonnie, is this gonna work? And Bonnie's like, yeah, I think maybe it would work. Caroline gets off the phone and is like, Haley, it's gonna work. This is awesome. And Haley's like, yeah, I heard. Congratulations. When Caroline goes to tell the boys, freaking Haley grabs her and snaps her neck. Elena trusts Shane, but Damon does not, because remember, Damon still thinks that Shane's the reason why the pastor blew up the 12 members of the council. Shane tells them that no, actually, him and the pastor were just friends because the pastor had lost his wife, so he was leaning on Shane for like spiritual guidance and help. Jeremy is fixed. Yay! He doesn't want to kill Elena anymore. Stefan and Klaus talk, and Klaus is like, what's going on? You know, you're being shady and Caroline's being nice to me, which always means somebody's lying about something. So Stefan admits that they were looking for the sword. This really hurts Klaus because he keeps thinking they're in a partnership, and then everybody keeps turning against him. He ends up saying to Stefan, you know, you can never actually trust anybody. At the end of the day, you're always on your own. And then Adrian, one of the hybrids, shows up and like talks to Klaus in a low tone, and then they leave together. April finds Caroline's dead body in the bathroom and freaks out, but then before she can go running out the door, Caroline stops her. Caroline calls the boys and is just like, get Rebecca. That bitch Haley, she's got another thing coming. Go get Rebecca. She's in the Lockwood cellar. Then when she hangs up, April's like, what is going on? And she uses compulsion on April and is like, forget everything you saw and heard. Let it go. Go out there. You're Miss Mystic Falls. You have duties to attend to. April says, okay, and goes running out of the bathroom. Well, then Caroline Caroline leaves and runs into Matt and tells Matt what's happened, and Matt's like, April saw you, but April can't be compulsed, like she has a Vervain bracelet on. And Caroline's like, oh shit. The following scene is terrible. Oh Holy Night starts playing. Tyler sees Haley and is like, girl, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be bringing the witch to help the hybrids. Haley says, there is no witch, Tyler. I made it all up. The hybrids are waiting in the woods. They're all starting to get antsy, but Kim is like, don't worry, Adrian's gonna be here any minute. Adrian shows up and says, Kim? And then freaking Klaus rips his heart out. Haley tells Tyler, I never intended for you to kill Klaus. I needed him for the sacrifice. Tyler's like, the what now? Klaus is in the woods with the sword. Haley is like, I don't know how to explain it, but I had to make a deal to find my family. There had to be 12. And Tyler's like, 12 what, Haley? 12 what? We go back to Klaus just bodying all of the hybrids with the sword, okay? There is so much gore. I don't know how I watched this show, okay? Because I've told you guys, I think I'm really squeamish with blood, okay? I think it's because I'm just desensitized to it because I've seen it so many times. But this scene is something else. Haley's like, if you run now, you might make it out alive. And Tyler runs. Kim is the last hybrid to be killed. Klaus asks her where Tyler is, and she uses her like dying breaths to say she doesn't know. And then he freaking beheads her. It's so bad. It's terrible. It's not funny in any way, but there's no other way to get through it. Like, it's so tragic. And then the final shot of that scene is Klaus just like head to toe covered in blood, walking up to the frame, looking heartbroken and sighing. Elena, Bonnie, and Jeremy go through like family Christmas memories because this is the Christmas special, guys, in case you hadn't caught on to that little fact. Elena tries to kiss Damon and he's like, Elena, we can't. She is like, I know what I feel for you. I know it's real. I wish you'd stop fighting it and just let me be with you. He says that it's really good to see her with Jeremy being normal, being herself. That's what he wants for her. And then he tells her to go home and let him take care of Jeremy on his own. He wants her to go back to her house and live her life and enjoy herself and not worry about him anymore. Caroline's with Stefan. They can't find Tyler and they don't know where April is, which both of those things very bad. They both feel guilty about hurting Klaus and how this whole night worked out because as far as they know, the body swapping is happening and Klaus is being like killed right now. Stefan's like, you know, I think I figured out why we feel so bad about this, and it's that, you know, we always say that Klaus is terrible, he's done these terrible things, but we've all done terrible things, and the only difference is that we have family we can trust to like get us through it. And of course, Caroline just spills the beans and is like, you can't trust Damon as far as you can throw him. She says that Damon's been with Elena all day and he was lying, and also they hooked up. Elena leaves Damon because even though she wants to fight the bond, she can't, so she gets in the car and drives away, but they do kiss first. Stefan has a full-blown destroy the living room tantrum. Tyler finds the bodies of all the hybrids, and it's so sad. He like wanders around counting all of them to see if anybody made it out. He's so defeated and so sad. He finds Kim's body last and he's just like devastated. And then when he walks out of frame, we see April in the cellar hiding, and she goes over to the coffin that Rebecca's in and pulls the dagger out. Carol is still at the party and she's looking for Tyler, but she can't find him, and she's like, where are you? You were supposed to drive me home. And so she's just sitting on the fountain waiting for him. Klaus shows up, still covered in blood, and she's like, Klaus, please don't hurt Tyler. He's all I have. And he's like, oh, you know, I know that, love, and you're actually all he has. There's kind of a beautiful symmetry in that. And then he drowns Carol in the fountain. That's the end of the episode. But as I said, it's the Christmas special, so Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas is playing in the background. We open with Liz in the high school gym with all the kids in front of her talking about Carol and how Carol is dead. And she says like, Carol was an open-minded friend and a wonderful mother. And I would like to pose an argument about the open-minded friend part. Like, as I said, they're trying to make Carol this wonderful, awesome, amazing human. She was kind of the worst, so was her husband. She also calls her death an accident, and that pisses Tyler off enough that he just leaves the room. Elena sees Rebecca in the crowd and is like, what? But then Rebecca vanishes, so Elena's like, I'm imagining things. Liz also tells the students that the interim mayor is going to be Rudy Hopkins, which is actually Bonnie's dad. Elena finds April crying in the hallway, and April's like, oh, I'm fine, you know, funerals just kind of make me miss my dad. Oh, also, I know you're a vampire now. And then Elena's like, what? And Rebecca pops up and breaks Elena's neck. Stefan goes on a little drinking bender because, you know, Elena slept with Damon, and that's the end of Stefan's entire life and worldview. It's all crumbling around him. Caroline calls him though and is like, you don't get to be freaking out because Tyler's freaking out and he's my boyfriend, so he gets priority, so you need to get it together. I can't handle both of you losing it at once. Elena wakes up in the library with April, and April's like, the assembly's over, school will be empty soon. How many times did you compel me? Don't lie to me, Elena. Rebecca told me you lie. And then Elena's like, April, Rebecca's not who you think she is. And April's like, oh, you mean a 1,000-year-old vampire? Yeah, I know everything, Elena. And Elena's like, oh my God. So basically, Rebecca has like not really brainwashed April, because that's not fair to say. Like, it's kind of a theme for these episodes is like, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy? Because April and Rebecca were already friends, so April was like already conditioned to like and trust Rebecca, and now Rebecca has given April her version of events. And what's happened to Rebecca is pretty terrible, so it kind of makes sense for her to be mad at everybody. When Elena tries to leave, Rebecca compels her and is like, sit down, shut up, school's about to be in session, I'm in charge now. Matt and Jeremy are training together. Jeremy's doing really good now, but when Damon steps in, because Jeremy's like, I'm bored, I want a real challenge, he is not strong enough to beat Damon, and Damon rubs that in his face and then sends the boys off to run around the lake a couple times. Elena keeps calling Damon and being like, please, can I come back to you? I miss you so much. I wish you'd let me come back. Please, Damon, can I come back to you? Damon, please. And Damon just keeps like ignoring the messages. Rebecca calls Stefan and tells him to come to the school. And then Stefan calls Caroline and is like, do you want to help me murder Rebecca with the white oak stake? Because we're going to the high school to do just that. Liz and Bonnie's dad talk about what happened to Carol, and he kind of knows about things because obviously he knows that his daughter's a witch. But this is Liz kind of saying, are you sure you want this job? Are you sure you want to deal with all of these secrets? Like, it's a lot to do what we do here. And he's like, yeah, I want to keep the town safe because this is where I live, this is where my family is, and I want to protect my daughter. So then Bonnie shows up and sits down, and they have a conversation where she's like, you know, I'm powerful enough, I can handle this, like, you don't need to be the mayor. And he's like, you need to let me protect you, Bonnie, okay? Caroline and Stefan are wandering around the school. They're both kind of being stalked through the hallways as they're doing stuff. But then Rebecca pops up with Stefan, and he kind of pins her down, and Rebecca is like, I hope you're not waiting on Caroline to come and stake me because I already found her. And then she like pulls out the white oak stake, so Caroline's already been kidnapped. Rebecca's plan is basically to have Elena, Caroline, and Stefan in this room with her and April. She's gonna compel them to tell the truth, and they're gonna have to answer her questions. Initially, she just wants to know what they've learned about the cure while she was daggered. Stefan kind of says, you know, we don't know anything new, there's no new information. And then Rebecca ends up kind of like figuring out that something's wrong, so she asks like what's happened, and Caroline lets it slip that Stefan and Elena broke up. When Rebecca pushes and is like, but what happened? Stefan lets it slip that Elena and Damon slept together, so now Elena knows that Caroline told, and it's awkward all around. Damon is drilling Jeremy again, and then Klaus shows up and is like, what's going on? Why isn't Jeremy killed more vampires? Why are we wasting time training him? And Damon is like, he's not strong enough. Like, we have to get him strong enough so that nothing happens to him when we send him after these vampires. And Klaus is like, yeah, okay. Well, how can I help? How can we speed this along a little bit? And then Damon is like, oh, you know, I've got an idea. Why don't you be the demonstration? And then he shoots Klaus several times in the chest, which takes so many balls, okay? I can't believe he did that, but he did it, and then he goes, "That's for Carol Lockwood." Rebecca wants to know why Elena is being so heartless to Stefan, because she just loves Stefan and she would never treat him like this if she was a human. And Stefan says that it's because Elena is sire bonded to Damon. And then Rebecca is like, "Elena, tell the truth." And then Elena is like, "I didn't sleep with Damon because of the sire bond. I slept with him because I'm in love with him." And then Rebecca has Stefan own up about Shane and how Shane knows how to get to the cure. So now Rebecca knows to go after him. Bonnie goes to Shane after the fight with her dad and is like, "Doesn't he know I'm powerful? Doesn't he know I can do this? Like, distract me, Shane. Give me a meditation that I can do to fix how I'm feeling." And Shane's like, "I don't know how to tell you this, but you don't need my help anymore, Bonnie. You're ready to go. You're doing great." And then he gives her a necklace from Ketsia, which is made of human bone, and he says, "You can use this to channel. It'll help you. It'll be like your conduit for your magic from now on." She heads home, and mother frickin' Cole walks by her in the hallway. She realizes who it is and goes running back to the office, but Cole has like broken a window and stolen Professor Shane. Rebecca calls Tyler and offers her condolences for his mom dying, and then she's like, "Why don't you come down to the school so I can apologize in person?" And he's like, "Why would I do that?" And she's like, "Because I have Caroline." And then she hangs up. And then Cole shows up with Shane. Klaus wants to know why Damon just hasn't turned random individuals for Jeremy to kill. And then he's like, "Oh, I know why. It's because you're trying to impress Elena." Like, oh, that's so cute. "I knew that that was what was wrong, Damon, so don't worry, I already handled it." And Damon's like, what did you do, Klaus? What do you mean you handled it?" And then we cut to the pizza girl that has been delivering pizzas for Jeremy and Matt showing up at the house. And she's like, "Hey, I'm sorry. My car broke down. Can I borrow your phone? Mine's dead." And Matt's like, "Oh my God, absolutely. Come on in. I'll go get it for you." But then when she goes to go inside, she can't get in. So then Jeremy comes around the corner and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing? Why are you waiting out there? Come on inside. Matt'll get the phone. I'm gonna go take a shower. I'll see you in a second." And she's like, "Thank you so much." And she comes in. Shane is cornered by Cole and Rebecca. Rebecca basically realizes that compulsion can't be used on Shane, so she's like, "All right, Cole, have fun. Beat him until he tells you what we need to know." Rebecca then makes the gang of Elena, Caroline, and Stefan play Truth or Dare, which is just so malicious. Elena gets dared to tell the truth to Stefan about how she feels about Damon. She says that when she's with Damon, she feels free, she feels like herself, and then she goes on to say when she's with Stefan, she feels like a problem that he needs to fix, and like when he looks at her, all he sees is just a broken toy, and that she makes him sad. Rebecca's like, "Do you still love Stefan?" And Elena's like, "Yes, of course I do." And Rebecca's like, "Are you still in love with Stefan?" And Elena says no. And then Rebecca has Stefan admit that it really hurt to hear Elena say that. Here's where it gets really crazy, okay? Tyler shows up. Rebecca turns to everybody and is like, "Okay, here are the rules. No vamp running in the hallways and no leaving the school grounds. You have to stay inside." And Caroline's like, "Running from what? What are you talking about?" And then Rebecca turns to Tyler and is like, "Turn." And they're all like, "What? What are you talking about? What's going on?" And she goes, "Well, I've gotten all the information out of you that I could get, and I want the cure. And now that I have Shane, I can get it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of the competition." Tyler is like, "If I turn, I'll kill them." And she's like, "Yeah, I know. Now turn." And she uses compulsion on him to make him turn. The pizza girl attacks Matt at the Gilbert Lake house, so then Jeremy comes in and kills her. Bonnie comes to find Shane at the school, but she ends up running into April. April is like, "I know you're a witch, Bonnie." And Bonnie's like, "Okay, I don't have time for this. You are very annoying. Be quiet." She explains that Rebecca is not going to be able to use compulsion on Shane, so the only way she's going to get information out of him is by hurting him, and April's a little horrified by that fact, so she ends up helping Bonnie get set up to do a spell to protect Shane. Cole is drowning Shane to get him to talk. While Bonnie starts doing the protection spell, April starts to cough. Shane comes out of the water and is like, "I don't even want the cure, guys. I just want Silas." Cole freaks out and is like, "What do you know about Silas?" Shane says he wants to free Silas, and Cole's like, absolutely not, and just starts like fully drowning him. April starts to drown too, until Rebecca intervenes and stops Cole. Cole is really afraid of Silas, but Rebecca thinks that Silas isn't real, so there's nothing to be scared of. Cole insists that if they let Silas out, he's gonna kill all of them. Shane is like, what are you talking about? I've already started the spell to free Silas, and once it's completed, Silas is gonna bring back the dead, and all the people that we've lost and all the sacrifices we've made, all those people are gonna be brought back to life. So then Cole stabs Shane and leaves him there to die, but April also gets stabbed and she starts dying. Tyler is fighting the change, but it's really hard and ultimately he can't, so everybody runs away. But remember, they can't vamp run, so they're all moving at like regular human speed. Wolf Tyler goes after Elena and Stefan first, thankfully, because Caroline ran off on her own direction. So Stefan and Elena get trapped behind a door, and then they're able to like block Tyler off and get him to stop chasing them. Rebecca is pissed that Cole killed Shane, but Cole stands by what he did and is like, you should be thanking me because Silas running free would be hell on earth. And then when they leave the room that Shane is in, Shane wakes up and pulls the I think Cole like broke a mop or something. He stabbed Shane with something. He pulls that out of himself. So Shane's alive. Elena and Stefan find Bonnie and April, and Bonnie's freaking out because she didn't even mean to do the linking spell. She was just trying to protect Shane, and her magic kind of took over and didn't even give her a warning before it did the linking spell. Stefan saves April and she wakes up. Bonnie takes April out of the school to safety, but Stefan and Elena can't leave because they've been compelled. Elena wants to talk to Stefan, but Stefan is like, how many more ways can you rip my heart out, Elena? I'm done talking to you. And then when she says she's sorry, he has the nerve to be like, sorry that it happened, or sorry that I found out. Dude, grow up. Y'all were broken up. You weren't even just like on a break. You were broken up because she told you she liked Damon. I don't know how long was she supposed to wait? Y'all weren't even that much back together, okay? Things were not going well. Rebecca comes in before they can finish talking and is like, why can't you two just die? Caroline finds Tyler in the gym, and thankfully he didn't hurt anybody, so she cuddles up with him and is like giving him kisses. And he says, you know, he's so upset, it's all his fault, he almost hurt them. And then he finally has like a breakdown over not having protected his mom, and Caroline just holds him through it. Rebecca wants to know if Elena would like her to compel Stefan to forget her. She could just make him forget every memory with Elena, take away all the pain, make it easier for him. And I shit you not, Stefan goes, do it. I'm not joking, okay? He's like, yeah, go ahead, do it. That's what I want. And Elena's like, Stefan, are you serious? And he's like, yes, I am. And then Rebecca turns to him and is like, no, I'm not actually gonna do that. I'm not gonna give you the easy way out and let you forget her the way Klaus made you forget me. Absolutely not. And then she turns back to Elena and she's like, at least you know how he really feels now. My partner came in when this scene was happening, and boy, did I go off on Stefan for several minutes. He's so annoying. It just infuriates me because this whole time, he has been the one that has been really good about like honoring Elena's choices. And what's happened here with her being more interested in Damon is entirely Stefan's fault because he has been unable to just accept her in her new form this whole season, okay? From the jump, she woke up to him wanting to change her back into a human instead of her waking up and him being like, I know this happened, it sucks, but I love you and I'm gonna be here for you no matter what. It's gonna be okay. You know who reacted that way? Freaking Damon, okay? And they weren't even together yet. And that was his reaction, was like, yeah, this is a sucky situation, but we'll figure it out. We'll take care of you. It's gonna be fine. Whereas Stefan was like, how can we fix this so that I'm more comfortable with the whole thing? No, absolutely not. The way he reacts to this, it's like nail in the coffin for me. I don't have anything else for him. Bonnie goes to confront Shane, and Shane has the nerve to just be like, oh my God, Bonnie, I'm glad you're here. I miscalculated, and Cole is going to be a problem. And she's like, Cole is a problem? I almost killed April because my magic was so strong and powerful and crazy that I couldn't control it, Shane. She's like, I'm not doing black magic. I'm done. You did not tell me the truth about this. He rushes on to be like, expression isn't good or bad, it's limitless. And what matters is how you choose to use it. So that's what we have to work on, Bonnie, is you only using expression for good. He promises that he won't let anything bad happen to her. Damon buries the pizza girl, and then Elena calls and is like, Stefan knows about us, and he took it really, really, really badly. And Damon's like, yeah, I saw that one coming. She says that she trusts Damon to take care of Jeremy, and she says that she trusts Damon to take care of Jeremy and get him through the worst of his issues because he's always been there for her, so he can handle it. He tries to get off the phone, and she's like, wait. Look, I have to tell you something. I realized something today, and you can call it the sire bond. You can pretend like it's not real. You don't have to believe me, but this is like the most real thing that I've ever felt, and I know it's true. And then she tells him that she loves him. He is like, look, Elena, I'm still gonna get this cure for you, and I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to get it. I'm gonna have to do things that you're not gonna like, but I want you to listen to me very carefully. Get in the car and come to me right now. Shut up. She says, okay, I'll be there soon. And he just stands there with the shovel, looking up at the moon, just like smiling like a lovesick puppy. Stefan, because he's the worst, calls Rebecca, and she comes over to talk to him. She says that she's sorry, you know, no hard feelings. She wants the cure because she wants to shove it down Klaus's throat and make him a human before she kills him. Stefan's like, awesome, valid goal, love that for you. Shane's not dead because Bonnie protected him, so we still have a way to get to the cure without the sword. He then tells her that she was right during the whole truth or dare situation, and since he's immortal, he will literally go insane if he can't prove to himself that Elena doesn't really like Damon, and the only reason why she likes Damon is because she's a vampire and the sire bond is in place. So he wants the cure still to give it to Elena and force her to be a human again and prove that she doesn't really love Damon. Excuse me? Absolutely not. Rebecca explains the dark shit that Shane's been up to, and then combined with the info that Stefan and Damon found out in New Orleans, they realized jointly that he's been doing these sacrifices and orchestrating all these murders so that he can like get enough power to free Silas and get the cure. He basically is like, yeah girl, we hate our brothers, so I think the best bet for both of us is to just team up and handle this together, and she freaking agrees. We cut to April, very close to the camera, telling people off frame that her father loved this town, her father loved the council, he loved her, he would never have taken his own life, and she knows it, and now she has proof that Professor Shane was connected to the murders, and it's time for the town to start telling the truth. And then the camera pans around, and it's Liz and the new mayor, Bonnie's dad. Jeremy, Matt, and Damon walk into a bar. They find Klaus sitting at the bar alone, and he's like, what's up, guys? I thought you weren't gonna find the place. Everyone else in the bar is dead. Jeremy's like, what on earth is going on? Matt's like, are these people dead? What's happening? And Klaus is like, well, technically they're in transition. And Damon's like, oh, this is happening. Jeremy turns to Damon and is like, I can't believe you agreed to this. There was no other options. And Damon's like, well, you know, I tried to find other ways, but Klaus's plan was better. And that's the end of the episode. No! That's where we're gonna stop today. I hope you guys enjoyed this season, man. It gets wilder and wilder as we go along. I hope you guys are buckled in and prepared because next week, yikes. If you guys enjoyed the video, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss next week's update. I'm gonna be here every Friday and we're just gonna be moving through the Vampire Diaries until we finally get to the spin-offs. I can't wait to watch the originals. I can't wait to talk to you guys down below. I hope you're having a great week and I will see you guys so soon. Have a good one. Bye.